The air in the dining room hung heavy, thick with the scent of rosemary and betrayal, as I stared at the ultrasound photo trembling in my wife's hand. Laura's eyes, usually a warm hazel, were glassy with unshed tears. Her lips parted as if words could mend the fracture splitting my world apart. Across the table, my daughter Emily sat rigid, her fiancé Mark beside her, his knuckles white around a glass of untouched wine. The image, a grainy blur of a future I couldn't comprehend, felt like a blade twisting in my chest. "It's yours," Laura whispered, her voice barely audible, but the words landed like a thunderclap. She wasn't looking at me. She was looking at Mark. The night had started innocently enough, or so I'd convinced myself. The clink of cutlery against plates, Emily's laughter as she recounted wedding plans, the soft glow of candles casting flickering shadows on the walls. It all felt like a snapshot of normalcy. But there was a tremor beneath it, a fault line I'd ignored for weeks. Laura's late nights at the gallery, her distracted glances, the way Mark's smile lingered too long on her. I'd chalked it up to stress, to the chaos of planning a wedding, to anything but the truth now staring me in the face. My mind reeled, replaying moments I'd dismissed. The way Laura's hand brushed Mark's at the engagement party, a fleeting touch I'd rationalized as accidental. The hushed phone calls she took in the backyard, her voice low and urgent, the words muffled by the rustle of autumn leaves. I told myself it was work, her art dealings, her passion for her career. But the truth was uglier, and it clawed at me now, raw and unrelenting. How had I been so blind? "Say something, Tom," Laura pleaded, her voice cracking. Her fingers clutched the ultrasound like a lifeline, the paper crinkling under her grip. I wanted to scream, to shatter the silence with the rage boiling in my gut, but my throat felt sealed shut. Emily's gaze darted between us, her face a mask of confusion and dawning horror. Mark wouldn't meet my eyes. His jaw twitched, and the faintest sheen of sweat glistened on his forehead. "What is this?" Emily's voice was small, a child's whisper in the face of a storm. She reached for the ultrasound, but Laura pulled it back, instinctive, protective. That motion, Laura shielding the truth from our daughter, ignited something in me. Anger, yes, but beneath it a deeper wound. The shattering of trust I'd built over 20 years of marriage. "I didn't mean for it to happen," Laura said, her words tumbling out in a rush. "It was a mistake, Tom, a moment of weakness. I swear I never meant to hurt you." Her voice broke and she pressed a hand to her mouth, as if she could hold back the confession. But it was too late. The room felt smaller, the walls closing in, the air thick with the weight of her words. Mark shifted in his seat, finally speaking. "It was one time," he said, his tone defensive, almost defiant. "We were drunk, it was stupid, and we stopped it before it went further." His lie was flimsy, transparent. The ultrasound in Laura's hand told a different story, one that spanned months, not moments. I wanted to lunge across the table, to feel his jaw crack under my fist, but I stayed rooted, my hands trembling on the edge of the chair. Emily stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "You're lying," she hissed, her voice trembling with fury. "Both of you. How could you?" Her eyes locked on Mark, and I saw the moment her heart broke, the way her shoulders slumped, the way her hands curled into fists. She turned to Laura, her mother, the woman who'd braided her hair and kissed her scraped knees. "And you," she whispered, her voice raw with betrayal. "How could you do this to me? To Dad?" I wanted to comfort her, to pull her into my arms like I had when she was a child, but I couldn't move. My own pain anchored me, a lead weight in my chest. Laura reached for Emily, but she flinched away, tears streaming down her face. "Don't touch me," Emily snapped, and the words cut through the room like a blade. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the faint tick of the grandfather clock in the hall. I forced myself to look at Laura, to search her face for the woman I'd loved since we were 22, the woman who'd laughed with me over cheap wine and late-night dreams. But all I saw was a stranger, her features distorted by guilt and desperation. "Tom," she said softly, "I know this is unforgivable, but I'm begging you, this child." She held up the ultrasound again, her voice breaking. "This child needs a father. I need you. We can get through this." Her words were a punch to the gut. Adopt the child? Raise the product of her betrayal as my own? The idea was obscene, a violation of everything I believed our life to be. Yet, even as rage surged through me, a quieter voice whispered, "What about the child?" Innocent, unformed, caught in the wreckage of our choices. The thought made my stomach churn. A mix of pity and revulsion. Mark stood, his chair creaking, and I saw the conflict in his eyes, shame warring with defiance. "I'll take responsibility," he said, his voice low but steady. "This doesn't have to ruin everything. Emily, I love you. I messed up, but I want to fix this." His words were hollow, a desperate plea to salvage what he'd already destroyed. Emily shook her head, backing toward the door, her face a mask of anguish. "Don't," she said, her voice breaking. "You don't get to say you love me. Not after this." She turned and fled, her footsteps echoing down the hall, the front door slamming behind her. The sound reverberated in my chest, a finality I wasn't ready to face. Laura sank into her chair, sobbing now, her shoulders shaking. Mark hesitated, then moved toward her, but I stood, my voice cutting through the haze. "Get out," I said, low and dangerous. He froze, his eyes meeting mine for the first time. There was fear there, but also something else, defiance maybe, or resignation. He nodded once and left without a word, the door closing softly behind him. Now it was just Laura and me, the ultrasound lying between us like a grenade. I wanted to hate her, to let the fury consume me, but beneath it, love lingered, stubborn and painful. "Why?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Why him? Why now?" She wiped her eyes, her hands trembling. "I don't know," she admitted, her voice raw. "I was lonely. You were always working and I felt invisible. Mark saw me, Tom. He listened." Her words stung, not because they excused her, but because they held a kernel of truth. I'd been distant, consumed by deadlines, by the grind of providing. Had I pushed her away without realizing it? The room spun, the candlelight blurring into streaks of gold. I thought of Emily alone somewhere, her world shattered. I thought of the child, a life caught in the crossfire of our failures. And I thought of Laura, the woman I'd vowed to love forever, now begging me to salvage the unsalvageable. My heart screamed to walk away, to let her face the consequences alone. But my mind churned with questions. Could I forgive her? Could I love a child that wasn't mine? Could I rebuild a life from these ashes? I picked up the ultrasound, the paper cool against my fingers, and stared at the tiny shape within. A life, innocent and untainted, yet born of betrayal. The weight of the decision pressed down on me, suffocating. "I need time," I said finally, my voice hollow. Laura nodded, tears streaming down her face, and I walked out into the night, the stars above cold and indifferent, offering no answers.